Okay. So, so my name is Rosari, and I'm the FEC Guidance Information and Recruitment Officer with Education and Training Boards Ireland. Just to give you a little bit of an idea of who ETBI, or Education Training Boards Ireland, are. In Ireland, there are 16 education and training boards around the country. You may have heard of different ones in your area, the Tipperary ETB, or Dublin, City of Dublin ETB, or Waterford, Wexford ETB. So there's 16 of those around the country. And the ETBI is kind of the body, the national body that supports the ETBs around the country. So that's the kind of role I'm in at the moment. I support guidance services around the country. Before I did this job, I was a guidance counsellor in Waterford, Wexford, and I was working there for over 10 years as a guidance counsellor. And before that, I worked as a tutor or teacher with young people of different levels, mostly young people who had left school early. So they were young people of different levels of ability and different levels of availability. So with that in mind, I think I kind of have an understanding of where parents are coming from when they're trying to get a program for somebody that fits their needs. So with that in mind, we'll move on to the next slide. FET, or Further Education and Training. FET is a service that's been around for a long time. You might have heard of the old vocational schools and those old programs that were around years ago that were kind of the place that you went to if there was nowhere else to go to. It was called at the time the Cinderella of education, but FET has come on in leaps and bounds, and people are starting to realize that FET and what it has to offer is really important. It's important because it offers level 1 to 6 on the national framework of qualifications, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. It's also important because it gives an alternative way of learning to young people, because sometimes, and my own children are like this, that my son, school didn't suit him. The way school teaches didn't suit him. So an apprenticeship was better for him. He liked to learn by doing. And a lot of us like to learn by doing. I think we'd all agree. I don't know if you would, Jean or Sinead or Fidelma, but I learn by doing better than I learn by somebody lecturing me. You know what I mean? So FET, or Further Education and Training, offers that. It offers different ways of learning which suit different people. And as I said, we're not all the same. So those programs and courses, they're provided around the country by those 16 ETBs that I talked about. So there should be an ETB close to you that you can access. And within that ETB, they will have their own programs going on. As well as that, you might have an ETB next to you, you know, if you're on between two counties or something like that. So you might have one ETB straddling two counties, or you might have two ETBs that you have the choice of. Here where I live in Wexford, we've Waterford, Wexford, but you also have Wicklow, and then we have Dublin, and we have Cork as well. So, you know, you might have something around you that's within a distance that allows you to travel. This is the national framework of qualifications, and if you're not familiar with this, I would get familiar with it. It's not as complicated as it looks. It's from my point of view as a guidance counselor and as a tutor, it's like my Bible. And if you look at it, it's like a fan. And the reason it's like a fan is the idea is that people can come and go, and it's not up or down or left or right. It's people can move back and forth between the fan. That's the idea of it, but we'll talk about that again later as well, about moving back and forth. Within the fan, you can see on the inner circle, you have levels 1 to 10, and they're the levels in the national framework. So all courses start at levels 1, and with FET, or Further Ed, they go up to level 6. You can see the green ribbon there, the green stripe. That indicates the FET courses that go from levels 1 up to 6. After that, then 7, 8, 9, 10, that's your higher level or your third level education. Within schools on the outer circle there, you can see level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That would be up to your Leaving Cert. So you can see where FET sits in line with the Leaving Cert. So if you look at levels 1, 2, and 3 in FET, you can see it's kind of in around coming up to the junior cycle in secondary school. And then if you look at levels 4 and 5, you can see it's the Leaving Cert in secondary school. So you can kind of get an idea on those levels where they are on the framework. The beauty of this framework, and this framework is not like any other framework in Europe. I work across Europe with different countries, and in Ireland, we're very lucky because within the framework, you always have somewhere to go, you know, and there's a transition. There are places you can go to. So you're never stuck. There's no cul-de-sacs. There's no end journey. There's always more you can do and more you can learn. The other thing about these levels 1 to 6 within FET is that each of the levels kind of has micro-credentials within them. So if you are somebody who wants to, or you or your child wants to do a level 3, and doing a whole program at level 3 is too much at that time, they can do it in micro credentials. So they can do minor awards that make the major award, if that makes sense. Can you hear my dog? Anybody? No? Can you hear my dog?
Every now and then, just.
Okay, let me close this door. I apologize. Okay, let's get back to this. So as I said, if you're not familiar with this fan, and anybody who wants the picture of it, if you can't get access to it yourself, I'll send it to you, I'll find it for you. But it is something that is worth looking at because it gives you an idea of exactly where you are with the National Framework of Qualifications in Ireland. So if we look at FET again, the 3 words I like to say is that it's adaptable, flexible, and varied. It's adaptable in how it adapts to the learner's needs. It's adaptable because it can adapt to your timeline. If somebody is available just 1 day a week or 5 days a week, or somebody likes to just go do mornings or just do afternoons or just do evenings. It's flexible to availability, as I say, and to the learners' abilities as well. So because you have so many levels that suit different people. It's also varied in how people learn. Some of the learning is online. Some of it can be in person. Some of it can be a mixture of both, hybrid. Some are employment-based, so they're within a work experience. Some will be in a workshop type environment where somebody is allowed to work away at their own level or their own speed or their own ability, with the tutor kind of hanging around in the background if they need help. So there's a whole lot of different ways this learning goes on within FET, and that's the beauty of it. Across the board as well, universal design should be applied, and that means that the way of testing and the way of assessing how much somebody knows should be varied according to the learner's needs or requirements. So that's what universal design and learning means, in case any of you have come across that before. Some of you might have heard of it before. Some of you might have heard of UD or UDL. But that's what that means, that the assessment needs to cater to the learner's abilities so that they can be assessed within ways that are easy for them. So that's what I mean about FET. That's only one slide, but there's a huge amount of information that I could keep talking about it all night, but I won't. But I just want to be absolutely sure that you know that the FET is there to adapt to the needs of the learner. Within FET and within those 16 ETBs around the country, there are guidance services. So that means that within the education and training boards, there is a guidance counsellor that's available to you, a free and confidential service. and one-to-one. Vet guidance counsellors will talk to groups as well. If there are groups or a group of people that you want to invite a guidance counsellor along to, or come into your centre if you have a centre that you'd like them to come into, and they are available to you within the 16 education and training boards. Within the services as well, there's also information officers. So you have guidance counsellors and you have information officers. The information officers usually are somebody who will come out and give you straightforward information, whereas your guidance counsellor will actually work with a client one-to-one for as long as it takes, you know, for them to get to where they want to get. And they can return to see that guidance counsellor as well. And as I said, it's a free and confidential service. So around the country, well, you have the FET guidance and information services, and I'll give you a link later. We might issue the link, Sinead, to all the people in the room on how they can access the guidance service in their area, or they can email me and I'll direct them to it. But within the country, they're all around the country. You can see the ETBs are shaded there, and within those you have 39 services. So there isn't just one service per ETB. There are 39 services around the country. For example, I live in Wexford, and in Wexford you have a Wexford service and a Waterford City service and a Waterford County service within the Waterford-Wexford ETB. So within each ETB you could have 2 or 3 services around the country. You also, and those services are where the ones that I just described to you are guidance counsellors who will see people who come in off the street or want to make an appointment, or they'll go talk to a group. You also have within FET colleges around the country, you will usually have a guidance counsellor that's on site within the college. And that means once you are in a programme, you have access as well to guidance. If you're in a program, say, for example, and you want to move on to the next level, but you need a little bit of advice around what that might be or where you might go with that. And that's what those services are. So I would advise you to locate your service. And as I said, if you need help with that, we can help you, and find where your guidance counsellor is and how you can access them and make an appointment. So we have a question and answer session now. I will share a few websites later as well, if that's okay, Sinead. Do you want to go through some questions first?
Thank you, Rosarie. Yes, and thank you. And we will share those links that you spoke about there. So, Rosarie, we had some questions submitted. You answered some of them already.
Is that the end of the present? Sorry, ladies. Is that the end of the presentation?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to stop the recording now then, okay?